Hey, what's going on, guys? It's Krosama, and today we're going to be taking a look at the high-grade Catsith from G Reco. This is a very unique mobile suit. It's a Grunt mobile suit, and yeah, it's very, very alien-like in many ways, much like many of the G Reco kits are. But you know what? I'm digging it. So let's go ahead and take a look at everything inside the box. Now, looking at the box, it is your standard box. It's nothing really too out of ordinary, and because this is actually a Grunt suit, you're going to see a lot of the other Grunts just kind of like mosey around, becoming cannon fodder, or hey, just doing their thing, gliding around. Now, one thing to note is that this is going to have the red Bandai logo, so I don't know if this actually did get a reprint. To my knowledge, it never did, so yeah, this is very, very ancient. And as you can see down here, it was made in 2015. And funny enough, you can actually see the original retail price over here coming in at 1,800 yen. Now, looking on the side of the box, there is a front and rear shot of the mobile suit, and you can tell that there's probably going to be some stickers. I mean, namely for the head. I don't know if the black is going to be filled in by stickers on all those vents, but you know, probably so. Now, looking at the action pose and all the different accessories, essentially it's going to have like a nice open hand, so have a little bit more dynamic action going on with that. And then you're going to have beam sabers that's going to be mounted onto the legs, which is very unique. You don't really see that too often, but it's really nice when you do see it. And then obviously the shield is going to be mounted on the side, and it's also going to have a beam rifle. And here are those accessories right here. And this is just a synopsis of the mobile suit, so if you want to go ahead and read that, like, you know, use Google Lens or whatever. The guy down there, I don't really remember him too much. I know he's like right into the first episode. He's at the training academy where Belly was. I think his name's like Darrenson or something like that. But yeah, I don't really remember him too much. I just know, you know, he gets recruited into the army, and you know, basically he's a good pilot overall. And then here's just some of the story, and yeah, me trying to explain the story is a lost cause. All right, let's go ahead and open up the box. Now take a look at Runner A. It's going to be in this kind of like purple hue, like purple tinted white. So yeah, not going to be a pure white. It's going to have a little bit of a purple hue in there. You are going to have two Runner Bs, so this is mainly going to be for like the arms, legs, and any kind of other symmetric parts. Now, one thing to note is that the parts are going to be very smooth. Like, you're seeing borderline no panel lines whatsoever. A couple of, you know, spots here and there, but for the most part, very smooth, and it's going to allow you to just kind of like have a blank canvas for any kind of panel line etching, which I may do, but I'm not like grossly attached to this mobile suit, so who knows. And next is going to be Runner C, so this is going to be more of a kind of tan color. Really good. I don't mind it whatsoever. Once again, a lot of smooth parts. Runner D is going to be the same color with that like tan kind of color. Yeah, this is going to be just parts for the backpack. You are going to get two Runner E's, and this is going to be mostly for like your inner frame parts and all your joints. Runner F is just going to be the same thing, essentially just a lot of like inner frame type parts and parts for joints. And Runner G1 is just going to be darker, so like a kind of like just a dark gray, or maybe even like a neutral gray, but it's gonna be for the thrusters, and you're gonna have parts here for the beam rifle. G2 is just going to be the visor for the head. H1 is gonna be a nice pink, and this is going to be for the hands. H2 is just gonna be some yellow parts. You are gonna have two beam sabers. And lastly, you're gonna have the polycaps. And the sticker sheet actually is not that large from what I was thinking. So yeah, just a couple of stickers, probably for the vents, I believe. Don't know what this is going to be for. And then obviously you're going to have two head pieces. Not too sure why there's a large and small one, but we'll go ahead and see when we get into the instructions. Now for the instructions, it's going to be nothing unique. It's going to be the same thing that you've seen all the time. You're going to have more just illustrations of the Grunt suits, some more action shots, which this pose right here does make it look pretty sick. So kind of excited to go ahead and just jump into this. Now, once complete, this is all that you are going to have. You're going to have basically the shield with the adapter, the beam saber effect parts, and then you're going to have a hand with a beam rifle. Now, to go through articulation real quick, the head can go up and down and pretty much left and right, so going to be on double ball joints. The shield is going to be on a polycap socket, so it can come out a little bit, but you know, it's just a ball joint socket. Not much is going on there. Can move up this far. Very, very tight rotation. Not too much of a bend, pretty much just going to be 90 degrees. Ball joint hand, ball joint torso. Can't really swivel back and forth that well. Front skirt has a little tiny bit of articulation. The hip is going to be on a peg and socket, so pretty much going to be your basic articulation. And without side skirts, yeah, it's pretty much going to be able to do splits. Rotation right here. Knee bend is pretty bad. I mean, barely getting 90 degrees right there, so you can kind of move it, but yeah, for the most part, this is going to be not that great. The foot can go back and forth, side to side, and you get a toe bend. Now, talking about the design of the kit, and we'll incorporate like the color scheme and everything, it's very, very unique. And to be honest, at first, I really didn't like it. I skipped this for a reason, because I just thought it was a very, very weak mobile suit. It doesn't look the best. So I basically just skipped out on it and, you know, never looked back. But nowadays, I kind of warmed up to it, especially after rewatching G-Reco. I'm like, you know what? It's not horrific. It's still pretty bad in terms of like the colors and some of the design aspects. But you know what? It has a cute charm to it. It's definitely unique. Now, something I do recommend is gluing this piece in, the centerpiece, just because like it pops off extremely easy. Yeah, it's like if you do any kind of dynamic poses, it's going to be pretty much problematic. So yeah, I'll dab a little bit of super glue right in that socket, and then yeah, just kind of keep it in place a little bit better. Now for the backpack, whenever it's basically like in a more like stationary position or just not in flight, you can go ahead and fold these down. But whenever you are trying to do some more like aerodynamic flight poses, yeah, you just pretty much whip them out, and it's gonna have a pretty wide wingspan over here, and this is actually gonna have some articulation as well. So it looks really cool when it's like this, you know, pretty much in this mode. I've seen some custom builds that put missiles underneath here, which actually like makes a lot of sense. It's kind of like a, you know, jet fighter. So yeah, if you want to go ahead and do some custom options, put some missiles underneath here, I think that's going to really bring out this kit a little bit more. Whether or not that's actually canon, that it does have missiles, I'm not sure. I'd have to like go back and rewatch some of the episodes that it's featured in. But I would like to assume that, you know, they would actually arm these with some missiles, just because a couple beam sabers and a beam rifle really isn't going to do all the trick. Now taking a look at the shield, it's pretty much nothing to write home about. It's going to be two pieces just slapped right on top of each other, but thankfully underneath there's nothing like, there's no gaping pits or like holes or anything that you got to fill in with some putty. It looks really nice, and I can definitely see some multicolors going on underneath here, especially if you want to put some like plot plate just to add more layers to it, because it is fairly plain, but you know, putting a little bit of plot plate in there just to, you know, give it some depth isn't too bad. Now, how you attach this is you go ahead and take a piece off the backpack. So this part right here, you're just gonna basically slip this out, and you're gonna expose this little connection piece, and then you just slide this right in there. And now you have this beautiful shield right on top of there, so that way it can protect itself. But that's not all it's gonna have. Let's go ahead and take a look at the beam rifle. So the beam rifle is cool and is going to have a custom hand that's going to attach right to it. It always makes me happy to see hands like this that actually puts a finger on the trigger, because when it's just like all four fingers are directly here, I mean, I'm not vibing with that. I think it looks pretty dumb. Although that is technically, you know, trigger, you know, safe trigger control. No, I want to do some action poses where it's, you know, potentially firing its weapon. But yeah, overall, it's just three pieces all slapped together, and that's gonna be pretty much it. Now with the rifle, it is looking pretty imposing, honestly. I mean, it's not a GM. Let's be honest here. It's not most other grunt suits that are really intimidating in many aspects, like the Jestas or even just the Zaku 2. I think those are phenomenal looking, you know, grunt suits. I mean, I think it looks cool. It's unique enough. It has a lot going for it. And I know the pilot who pilots one of these, is a pretty, I don't know, like accomplished pilot, one of the instructors from the academy. But yeah, I think even the best pilots really aren't gonna like do that great in this. They can do good against a incompetent enemy, but yeah, for the most part, any other like mobile suit that's maybe a Gundam or even the F Bullock, those things are just gonna outclass these like significantly. But yeah, I still think it looks fine. But we do have one more weaponry that we're gonna go ahead and show. So we do have one more set of weapons. This is going to be the beam sabers that just fold out right here. They are a little loose, so sometimes you gotta just like, make sure they're tightened. But yeah, flip them right out here underneath the armor, and then you can just go ahead and plug in the beam saber effect part right into the hole. Now this is where I think it shines the most. When the beam sabers are deployed, honestly, this just looks cool. And I don't know, kind of like my preferred style for this mobile suit. I think the beam rifle is really cool and all, but man, having just beam sabers plopping right out of your leg, man, that's pretty awesome. And since it is not going to have any side skirts, I mean, you can do some pretty cool poses. I mean, you got splits right here, but yeah, you can really just kind of angle it pretty well on a stand. And just try and get everything like looking really good. Yeah, angle it. Look at that. That's probably whenever I actually paint this kit up and everything, this is probably how I'm going to be doing the pose. Just like having all these deployed, the backpack's all nice and leveled out. Get some thruster effects right on the back of here. I mean, this looks good. Honestly, I'm digging it. Maybe even bring the shield down a bit more. Yeah, that is probably going to be my go-to pose. Now to summarize, honestly, it's a good looking mobile suit. It's not my favorite from the G Reco series, but I think it is good enough that I would put on my shelf along with other G Reco mobile suits. By itself, without any other G Reco mobile suits to accompany it on a shelf, I don't think it's going to look that great. It's not really going to be an attention gainer unless you do something really dynamic with it, like customize it and really have a sick paint job. But if it's going to be like out of the box or like very, very limited in its customization, I would say try to make a G Reco shelf if possible. I know these kits are extremely overpriced right now, but if you somehow can manage to get some other G Reco suits, bundle them together. I think that's gonna like make them stand out a little bit more because they're all very weird looking mobile suits. They're very oddly designed, and I think it doesn't translate that well to kits. But if you have them all together, I mean, they fit the theme and it's just gonna look that much better on the shelf. So that's what I'm trying to do. I know I have a couple of moon kits here in the back, but honestly, I'll probably be getting rid of those, and I'm just gonna like turn this one little shelf right here into the G Reco shelf. Likely, if I have all the kits, so I'll likely be building upon this and have like another spot or two that's going to be like all G Reco, and hopefully that's going to look good. I do like the series enough that I'm going to go ahead and get the kits or build them and paint them. But yeah, if you don't like this mobile suit, obviously going to pass on it. But if you do kind of like the mobile suit, I recommend grabbing a couple of other, G Reco mobile suits, such as the G Self. This is the Robot Spirits version. It's not that great, but you know what? If you don't want the high grade or you can't afford the high grade, you could probably afford this because it's usually cheap. But yeah, that's pretty much it, guys. Sorry for the layout. This is in my new home. I don't have a studio yet. I'm just kind of working with what I got. So I definitely just want to put a video out there for you guys because I've been eager to build and I've been pretty eager to make videos again. But that's it for me, guys. I'll be seeing you in the next video, whenever that's going to be, whenever I manage to get over to Okinawa, and I think around July is when I'll receive all my stuff, my studio equipment, my paints, all my kits. So yeah, I'll try to get the narrative Verka. That's going to be the next one that's on my list. But yeah, see if maybe I can get some other kits built and make some videos for you guys. But that's it for me, guys. I'll be seeing you in the next video. Bye-bye.